Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. How are you all? It's now time to play with fabric. Just to bring you up to speed, what I did was stitched those pockets. I also stitched around that journal card, so that's stitched and in position. And in the ephemera area of the journal, that pocket's done and glued on, and those pockets are glued on. So we've just got a collage of goodies there that can still be embellished. Who knows what will come of all that. So now, as promised, I want to play with fabric. So what I've done is I've put in a piece of William paper here. Now the reason I did it was I had plans on now going through with the fabric and putting some trim through wherever journal pieces are going to go. So that's the process. I've decided that this is the width of fabric I believe I need. It is the width of my ruler, which my ruler width, because that gives me a straight edge, is not quite an inch. It's probably 1/8 under an inch. This gives me a nice straight edge that I can draw a line and cut, because this new fabric doesn't rip. So I sort of had to come up with a way that gave me uniformity, hence the width of the ruler. I can draw a line, I can slice it. So the first slice came off with the plans of putting it here on this edge, but when I flipped it over, I've got these envelope flips in my way. So thinking, right, so I got to think of something else to get some fabric on the front cover. So I had a scrap of William paper, so I've put that on to go around because I could see the Telstra letter peeking through. So that's purely just to sort of finish that edge so that I don't see that envelope. Now, it just sort of brought me to a bit of a thinking. If I was to do this again, here's my prototype, I would go through and edge all of these edges everywhere in paper. Just a plain paper, just go around and edge it all. Not only does it firm it up ready to be used, it sort of hides the fact that there's envelopes coming in and joining. Like that one's okay because it's already edged. What about these edges up here? So just something to think about when I do this again, that maybe there's a little bit more prep work in the beginning. So anyway, I'm just thinking out aloud. So what I'm thinking is I thought, well, I might put a ruffle here. This is too big. I need something a little bit more smaller. So I slithered off just a little 1/4 inch piece. So I'm now going to tear down something for that 1/4 inch piece to sit on. Now you're going to think I'm probably nuts, but I'm just going to create something to stitch on my little decorative piece. So that will now sit on that front edge. It won't interfere with any flipping and bending and moving, and I'll still get this little frilly bit of fabric. And I will be using calico as well throughout, I'm sure, so it sort of all matches. So the plan is to put this onto there. Does this make sense? I really should have my fabric mat, but I haven't gone and grabbed it. Maybe I should. I'm just going to pin that, and I'm just going to do a running stitch down there to hold that little gold piece of fabric on. So this is just a little decorative element to go on the front of this journal, being because I can't wrap it around the spine of the journal. So I have a feeling there'll be all sorts of problem solving activities here, which is a lot of fun. Just got glue on my fingers. So I'm just going to give that a knot. Whoops. Oh, goodness me. I finished filming the video where we were, yesterday's video, went to the sewing machine, I thought, oh, well, that's enough for today. And I thought, no, I'm going to keep going. I just want to touch fabric. And I've still got glue on my fingers. And now I'm working with fabric. Crazy girl. And I don't have anything in here handy that I can use to clean my fingers. It'll be okay. So I'm just going to come up and using a running stitch, secure this little bit of gold onto the front. It's all about where can we sneak in some of these beautiful William Morris fabrics into this journal, which will be, you know, the start of the embellishment stage. We'll be able to make some tab tops and all sorts of little bits and pieces. And if we can bring a bit of slow stitch into the project, happy days. Anyone who's following along and hasn't really done a lot of hand sewing, this will be a really simple little bit you can make, little element you can make and add to your journal, and it'll just get your confidence up with running stitch, because that's a good starting point. And I think this will set the theme for the journal as well. Now I'm using a cream crocheting cotton, my go-to 712, which is just a basic cream. The size 8 is the cotton, which is just a nice size. It's not too fine that it disappears when you do needlework, and not too thick that it sort of doesn't look right either. Okay. Just going to pull that down a little bit, because I've just noticed I've got a little bit of glue on that cotton, a little bit dragged through. I really need to go clean my fingers. So I'm just going to re-knot that. Pull that back through. That's it. So at this stage here, you could even make it slightly longer than what you think you need and gather it. So you'd make a gathered ruffle, which would be really pretty. But I couldn't really do that because my fabric length or width is restricted by what I've got to work with. Like if that was a meter long, well then you can gather and ruffle all you like. But I don't have that, so I'm just going to do a straight running stitch. There's a little bit of gathering anyway naturally because of the nature of this running stitch. I'll just trim that little piece off. Keep that because we might do a similar thing. There we go. And that is going to attach onto there as a bit of a decorative element, and I'm thinking that will sit nicely there. Yep, that's not going to interfere with that piece. Okay, so let's put some glue down. This is going to be a bit tricky because I'm using fabric, and fabric needs time to adhere. So I might even have to stop and start this little video and just, you know, hit pause, let it dry, come back, because if I pick this up and fiddle too much, the fabric's just never going to have a chance to glue down. So it might be a bit of a piece together one, which usually is the case when I do the sewing side of videos. I sort of have to let it catch up. Yeah, I'm liking that. I won't do anything in that spine, it looks good. And I could probably do something in that one. Could probably put a decorative piece there. Yeah, I think I might. But first of all, let's just make sure we're not bumping that too much. So just lift that up so you can see. That's just a strip of calico with a 1/4 inch piece of pretty fabric. Yeah, 1/4 inch. And then just a simple running stitch down it. Easy. Looks effective. Really pretty. Now we could put a tab on this. Now this is still open as a potential pocket. I don't think I'm going to use it as a pocket. I like it to be nice and strong with a bit of integrity, and we've got plenty happening here. I don't think we need a journal card, so I'm going to glue that closed. Decision made. Glue it shut. And then I'm going to find some fabric or something that can go round that just to protect that edge a little more. And we've got a little bit of room there, so we've got calico already featured, so that's pretty. There's nothing stopping us that side, but we don't need a big piece. Let's have a look through the fabric and see which one we could potentially use. Thinking I want to go along the greens, or do we want a contrast? Oh, they're so beautiful. Look at that. That's the same fabric as the paper. Oh. Oh, it's hard to make a decision, isn't it? I sort of feel like it needs to be a small print and a bluey print. Now, let's move that out of the way. We don't need the long edge, we can just use the short edge. Oh, I've got a selvage here with a little furry end. See that? Little furry. So that'll be pretty. So I'm thinking we tuck a tiny little piece there and it'll go over the edge. So that's 10 mil. And then it can come over easily 10 mil. So if we cut that at 20 mil, which is not just a bit over 1/4 inch on this, and we'll utilize this fur so that it either is this side or the inside. So it's a selvage. So let's line it up on the board, and we want 10 plus 20, and we'll include that selvage. Otherwise it might bump into something. So I'm going to make sure that that's nice and straight. I have a cutting wheel, which we could pull out, but I might just be able to do it with this, I think. Have I done that right? So now I'm just using my friction pen, which is a heat pen that, you know, apply an iron or a hairdryer and it just disappears. That gives me my line. My ruler is my straight edge. And now I can sneak, whoop, wrong scissors, paper scissors. Now I won't do any sewing to this piece. I think it can be applied straight onto it. Oh, what fun. I love it when I can bring fabrics into a journal piece. It just takes them to the next level. So that's going to go there, like so. Spin that around. Just a little hint. And then it will fold over and be there. Oh, love it. Okay, so let's see if we can get a little bit of my glue stick on that edge. I'm going to just put some fat paper there to protect underneath so we don't smear glue everywhere. And just get a little bit down that edge to hold it. And then we'll put a little bit of art glitter glue in as well for that extra quick grip. And then we just, there's birdies, they're upside down. Will it be noticeable? No, it just looks like pears. Oh, they're noticeable to me. So I have to put the fringe this side because of the little bird. It's this one here. I can see his little beak. So the fringes come to the inside, not the other side, which is okay. I can live with that. Can't have my little birds upside down. Oh, lovely. So now I spin it around, open that up, and I should be able to put a line of glue on that edge. That's it. And then just a little bit of art glitter glue just to help catch it immediately, because I'm fiddling around with it. Won't hurt. Whoop. Put the needle in. So it'll just be a case now of working through the journal, adding as many textiles and fabrics as I feel we need. And trim. Nice little scrap. I think what I'll do is I'll have all these little scraps left from doing this, which then I can maybe use on a stitch piece, a slow stitch piece. There we go. Lovely. So we just got this little trim now, something for the fingers to hang on to, which feels beautiful, and it sits just nicely. Okay, so let's have a look at this tag. Let's do a tab top for that. Is this going to work? Yeah, that will. So maybe we back it just to give it some stability. Where's our calico? Any little scrappy bits? Here we go. Put the glue on the glue bottle. And I think we're going to do that. So let's grab our tag out. I might get a container for scraps before it becomes a mess. Let's get ourselves a little organised. So let's make our tab top like so. Yep. Could be a fraction smaller. I'll just crease it. And we'll snip and rip. Put our calico back. Now what I'm thinking of doing is the same principle as this little strip. Let's lay this little guy down. Snip it off so it sits within the calico perimeter. And we're going to stitch that down. I wonder if we could stitch a little bit of the green on too. Oh yeah, little bird appears. Let's do that. I'll just snip that back a little bit so it's within the perimeter again. So it's a layer upon a layer. So now I can run some stitching in there to hold it all, and that will become the tab for the top. That's it. I don't like the green. I just like the gold. That just makes it too messy. No, that's it. That's gone. It's just the gold. See, sometimes just simple. It's just too much with that little layer of green. I think it's because I really like the gold fabric on that top of that gold tag. So I'm thinking that is going to be plenty enough. Okay, I still got some needle and thread here, and I'm just going to do a running stitch around the outer edge of this fabric, holding it in position. Really simple. Concentrating. And if you are new to this type of decorating, don't stress if your stitches aren't straight, your fabric's not straight. That's sort of the beauty of this type of work, is that it doesn't have to be. You're welcome to the slow stitch world. It's just stitch it down. Just stitch it down. Coming across the bottom, and you can get fancy and do little decorative stitches too, like a fly stitch or a lazy daisy stitch. It really is up to you how much time you spend on these little elements. But I love it when the tab tops become something too. And you know, it's another example of showing the person that's getting this journal that if they do like sewing, oh, my thread is split. Okay, rethreaded. Just got to get to that corner with one more stitch. Yeah, it's showing the person that has the journal that they can actually do some little stitched elements throughout the piece to decorate. Okay, so where's our piece? Now it's just a case of attaching it. Put a little finger crease there, and happy with that. Glue it into position. Love it. Oh, I love feeling fabric through a journal. I've probably said this 100 times. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue through that center there where the fold will be, and then the rest will be where it catches down. And that'll just hold it, but not feel like it's a glued piece, you know, and gets that rigidity. When you use craft glue, it just makes everything really stiff. You want it to feel still tactile, but you want to know that that's secure in there and not going to go anywhere. Beautiful. We haven't even embellished here or added any extra, you know, decorating. You know, whether I do that or not, I'm not sure. Depends if this goes to my friend or not, because I will sort of want to leave things for her to do. So there's the tab. So there you go. We've got a little piece there, little strip there, and our little decorative element there. Can we add any more anywhere else? What should we do? Why not? I'm just looking. I'm just thinking we add a little bit of textile there. Yeah, let's do it. Because we're on the front, we can get away with a lot more. We're not inhibiting the folding of the journal. So let's play a little bit more. So I'm just threading the needle again. And I'm just going to cut a little snippet off here. I'm just going to do some random stitching on it. And I'm going to attach it to this corner of the envelope and bring it up here on the other side. And I'm going to just do a little running stitch right around it. And these little bits, these little clustery bits, well, it's not a cluster, but it could be a cluster. They can be created through the whole journal, and then just a few little stitches to hold it all together and then attach it. It's probably, oh, look, I've gone around the edge, goodness sakes, which I could have done as a stitch, an overcast stitch. Oh, that would have been really cool. That would have looked different again. Don't have a lot of structure to this fabric, meaning that it's quite light in my fingers here. And if I did an overcast stitch where I sort of go around that outer edge, there's a chance that I'll pucker it all up. It really needs to have some backing underneath it because it's so lightweight. If it was a linen, yeah, by all means, you could whip stitch right around that edge. But I think because it's so soft, these modern fabrics, they barely give us any cotton in it. That's why they're hard to tear. So I'm just going to stick to a running stitch, which is what we've sort of started our project with. So for continuity of design, let's just not head off into another tangent. And nearly did it again. I nearly brought my needle from the bottom up into this scrap, which would have jiggered it. So we're coming down the final side. Okay. Now I just need to make sure it's sitting flat, knot it off. A little wraparound knot under there. And then it's just a case of gluing it on. Might use the glue stick just to get a little bit of glue on there. And then the art glitter glue can sit on the thread itself. And that'll really hold it down. So it's just a little piece of textile on the bottom there. Doesn't interfere with the workings of this flip. It's out of the way. It's not interfering with the thickness of the journal. And it just comes up there to meet that little dream piece. There we go. Plus we've got that calico pocket in there as well, which is really cool. We've got labels, so I'm pretty happy with all of that. And just having that little bit of textile there sort of just ties it all together, I think. Yeah, happy with that. Okay, so I can re-tie that. I love the hessian too. It sort of feels a little bit old world. The bow is sitting sideways nicely. I've got some eyelash yarn there. Could probably even put a bulb pin and a little charm there as well. What have we got? Maybe a little key on that, on the little tag. That's a big key. Looking for a bulb pin. Here's one. It's a brassy looking one. That'll do. And I'm just going to put the key on. I'll push that through the knot. And that'll help secure those fibres so that doesn't come undone. And it's just a little dangle there. And that can slide in the pocket. Have that little key. There we go. Liking that. So that's the front, I think, looking pretty good. Do we want to do anything else? I don't think so. I like that. Little tag in the back. Got a nice little fabric edge. It really needs to dry. That's sitting nicely. Like that. And I like that. Yeah, very good. You could even put a little charm up on this to dangle as well. Yeah, very good. Okay, so let's go into the journal itself. So we've got a flip happening here. We might do something down this edge because that'll help disguise this white envelope. Where's my paper? I might do a similar sort of thing. We've got a little bit more room here. Could even make it that it's a little tuck. Will that hide it? Yeah, it will. That paper is not glued there. It's sitting up in the air, so we need a little bit of glue in here before we go too far. I feel like this hinge is a little weak, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide a piece of paper in there to reinforce it. This might do the trick. So let's just move what we're doing away. I think it'll be a case now where we check every hinge, make sure everything is sitting right, nice and strong, and then when we're happy that that's the case, we will add some form of embellishment to it. I'm going to make that come right in there so that it really does glue down nicely. Yep. That's good. That'll protect that. I'm a bit happier with that. I'll just ink that a little bit because I think it'll be noticed. Yeah, that's good. Might just do glue stick because then I know it's going to hold. I need it holding at every point, not having any air in there, and the art glitter glue can be a little bit that way because you just can't get the coverage. And when you're in a critical area like this, a spine, you do not want it coming off because it's just too hard to try and fix at a later date. I'm going to tuck that right in under that calico piece. Yeah, that's good. That'll reinforce that nicely. I've got a little bit of paper hanging over there, but I can snip that out, no problems. And then I'm just going to grab my pointy tool and just have that calico edge just sit over it so it looks like it's meant to be. There we go, nice and secure. Now I'll let that dry because my plan is to do a decorative piece here. So let's get our sizing right. And we know we can, you know, really play a little bit because we don't have too much bulk and we know the spine here has room to move. So I'm pretty happy that I can, you know, collage up some pieces. I'm going to move my journal out of the way. I'm going to bring my mat up. That's better. Bring my fabrics over. Now that's the bunny zone. So I'm going to probably bring in a little bit more of these blues, I think. Where's my yellow? Let's get this piece down so that it sort of drags the front in. I like that. Put my ink away. Put the lid on my glue. I've got the horse before the cart here a little bit. I can still cut here. Let's find another fabric to introduce to our scraps. I do like that. I like them all, that's the problem. I like this one. I'm going to cut another piece off. Maybe the width of the ruler. Is my printer starting up? Why is my printer starting up? Considering that I'm not printing anything. That means one of the stores, because I've got 2 Christmas shops, someone at one of those stores is sending a document to a printer in their store, but they haven't selected their printer. It's defaulting back to my printer, which is always such a giggle, because you know what will happen next? They will walk to the office, because they're probably at the front of the store, and I bet you it's Virginia, because they seem to do it all the time. Yeah, this document's coming out, 3 pages, and now they're going to walk to the printer, and nothing's going to be there. I'm just going to do a little bit of layering here. So I'm going to layer that one there, and then I'll stitch it all down. What about my little birdie fabric? There, that could go on, but it doesn't pop, it sort of blends. So let's see what else we got. We sort of need a completely different colour. Yeah, I might chop a bit of this teal off. Oh, look, the word Morris. Yes. Let's cut that. So let's go to the, I'm going to go to the printer and see what printed. This is really funny. This makes me giggle every time. Hold that one thought. Yes. This is funny. Okay, so the staff have printed some labels to put on their shelving. Look, 70ml rose gold baubles, 24-piece pack, $24.95. The red, the champagne, the gold, the silver, the teal, the blue, mountain blue, midnight blue, sorry, copper, burgundy, and some tinsel fountain stars. So they've sent that to the wrong printer. Now, I live on the south side of Brisbane. Their store is on the north side, and they've sent it to the wrong printer. That just makes me giggle. So excuse me for a moment, guys. I just need to send a quick text to the manager and just say your labels for baubles came to my printer. They would have just about walked down to the printer, which is at the opposite end of the store, and realised. There we go. Just in case my manager is not working, I'm just going to send it to the assistant manager. Because the manager might be actually on day off. So we have the word Morris. Oh, that's too good not to use. Where can we put it? Let's put it there. And then maybe a bit of this dark blue can be worked into it as well. Yeah, let's get rid of that. There. No, it's still not right. Maybe there's another colour. Maybe we bring the red in. Maybe we bring a little bit more calico in. No, it's the blue. We were heading for the blue and we didn't cut it. So I'm just going to cut that. Got sidetracked by my staff. There'll be a text come through in a few minutes going, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Because it's pretty quiet through the main part of the year. Their teams are starting to build back up now as we're getting lots of stock in. There's my phone texting. Yes, it was my assistant manager, and she's just replied, "Oh, I've just walked to check the printer, and yes, bummer, I got that wrong. So sorry." Yeah, so the teams are starting to build up again because we're getting stock in, and they're getting, you know, needing more staff to assist the main crew. So when they haven't done something for 12 months, things like this happen where they'll select the wrong printer and it'll end up coming to me instead of their printer. It happens. Happens to me regularly. I'm forever printing things and it just never turns up, and I'm like, oh, wonder where that went. So often they're texting me to say, "Corrine, you've got some pages of birds here. We guessed it was you." So now I'm just going to add a little piece of that. Maybe it can come off the page a bit. Yeah. Where's my journal? Fold my paper, fabric up, put it away. Take a moment just to keep things a little organised. Really is good. Okay, so now if I bring that up to there and have a little look. Oh yeah. Excuse me. Oh yeah. Goodness me. So now I'm just going to put a few pins in. Get rid of the journal. Take that off. A few little well-placed pins. Okay. All right. So I've got some homework to do. I'm going to, as before, just using my cotton running stitch around. I'll go around the perimeter of everything. I might do a few little extra stitches here just to create a little bit of a difference, like I will. Where's my needle and thread? So the two big pieces, I'll just go around the perimeter. But this one here, I might do some bands of stitching across and then do a similar thing in there. So this corner will become quite stitched in itself and sort of create a bit of a clustery thickness here. I might even go looking for some lace. I haven't included lace in this project, but maybe I've got some doilies that are very torn. So maybe there's an opportunity. Yeah, I will. See that bit there? It's just broken. I gave it a wash, and when it come out of the wash, it just, yeah. So that little element there, I'm going to stitch on there as well. There we go. Okay, I'm going to leave the video there. I've got some homework to do. I can stitch that, pop it on the journal, and then when we come back together, we can move on to another section of our William Morris journal that will sit in there. Lovely. starting to get interesting now, isn't it? Okay, I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.